Alrighty, Kevin, we are so excited to have you on our podcast today. I would love it if you could tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself, how morning light photography came to be, and just kind of like the heart behind what you do.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. It's always fun talking to you guys. And yeah, so
Yeah.
I've been a photographer for this is year 11 for me. I got really lucky. I got interested in photography when I was in high school. And then I started photographing bands because I wanted to go to all the local concerts for free. And it worked. And then eventually started charging like $20 plus the show ticket and $30 or whatever. I started doing the band promotional photos after that. And some of those bands started getting bigger where I started getting published in some magazines. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. And so as I was going into college, I said I should probably learn how to run a business because I know I'm going to keep getting better at this whole photography thing, but I should learn how to run a business. So I went to school for sales and marketing, and then while I was there, I started getting into wedding photography. And then my then was it girlfriend? Yeah, my then girlfriend became fiance, and then we started doing weddings together while we were in college. Then we got married, and we grew a team. And then over the last couple of years, we have shrunk down to just me. And now, yeah, it's just me, and I'm having the most fun I've ever had. I'm not opposed to growing a team again, but just a different season of life. And so, yeah, it's just me now. I do about 20 weddings a year, and I'm just having the most fun ever. And I guess my heart behind it is to really serve people really well and provide really amazing art while also giving really great hospitality, which I know obviously we're going to talk a lot about today. And yeah, those are just two things that I think are really have been on my heart over the last little bit. Is like, how do I provide an amazing client experience and also just understanding. I remember I was thinking about this the other day on the way to a wedding, that the way I view somebody's wedding day is the way that they are going to remember it for all the years to come, because those are the photos that they're going to have. And I think that's what an honor, what a gift that we get to do that. And so yeah, I'm pumped. I'm just having a great time. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited. When Angelo and I were talking about guests to bring on the podcast, you were like the first one that popped into our head. We were super excited. We love your work. We love what you stand for. And we're excited that our viewers can, hear a little bit more about that. But how do you feel that you're our first guest?
It's so fun. I think that's great. Get it on the ground level. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good time. I agree. I mean, I love talking to you
No.
guys. So any excuse, if it's a podcast, great. As long as we get to talk, I'm happy.
Yeah, I figured that there would be a lot of golden nuggets that you could share. And yeah, we're excited to get into the topic. I know you kind of briefly said something about hospitality. So we kind of want to share with our viewers about hospitality in the wedding industry. So I know that that might be confusing. What does that mean? So could you just kind of describe what that means to you as a photographer?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most fun topics right now. I think because I mean, okay, if you're looking at hospitality, it's how you're treated. There's customer service. And I remember Will Guidara talks about. I think it's I'm gonna butcher the quote, but in his book Unreasonable Hospitality, it talks about how customer service is black and white, hospitality is color. It's the ability to go above and beyond for people and just make them feel seen and heard. Yes, functionally we're doing a job, whether it's photo, video, planning, catering, whatever it is. But are you able to help people feel seen and heard throughout the entire process? To me, that's hospitality. Because I mean, also think if you're from a wedding vendor standpoint, if you're providing great hospitality, if you're helping people feel seen and heard throughout the entire process, they're going to refer you more. You're going to positively impact your bottom line. And I just think give people a great experience, because their wedding day is one of those milestones that we only have so many huge milestones in our life. And if we can help provide a great experience in that, and just people just remember it for how amazing it was, I just think that's the goal.
Yeah. I love that because obviously, as you're a photographer, we're videographers, we're giving our clients a really great product, but it's really not just about the product, it's about the experience. And I love how you were talking about hospitality and not just good customer care. It's like much more beyond that. And so I'm really excited to kind of dive deeper. So I'd love to ask, like, what are some small ways that photographers or really any vendor can make a couple feel truly seen and cared for?
I think one of the best things you can do, it starts from the beginning, even from like your web experience, making it easy for people to understand how to buy from you. I think that's super important. And that doesn't mean like, oh, just put your pricing online. Like, I don't even think that's necessarily the
Mhm.
best thing, depending on what like pricing category you're in and all of those things. I think it's can you share your values on what you value and help people connect with you and say, okay, this is the type of person that's for me or not for me? Because I think that's also just in service as it is to, because people say, I want everyone. Well, I'm not for some people. I'm not like a super dark
Yeah.
and moody photographer. I'm not uber bright and airy. I'm like very true to life on that's just the editing style.
Mhm.
And so I want people to know I'm definitely for these people. I'm not for these people. If you're into like really good hospitality and you want that, then great. I'm definitely for you. If you're like, yeah, I don't care about that. I just want the cheapest option. Okay, cool. That's fine too. But yeah, I think even it starts there, and then from your discovery calls, like taking time to get to know them. What are you interested in? Like, and it doesn't mean just like, okay, what do you guys do for dates? And if that's like what you care about, but what does your wedding look like? What do you value? Try to help figure out value so you can help them throughout the entire process, and make it as easy as possible. Some people want to be definitely more hands off. All right, great. I'm not going to bug you. Some people want to know, hey, can I send you my Pinterest board and send you stuff on Instagram? Yeah, no problem. Like, send me the stuff all day long. I don't care. I'm more than happy to see it. So I've had some people, photographer friends, say that sounds like a nightmare. I'm like, I'm cool with that because if that makes them feel great and feel seen and feel heard, and I know I just keep saying that over and over, but it's true.
Mhm.
I think that's so important, and also it just gives me really good insight into like what that person's actually thinking, because a lot of my clients want to be very collaborative, and want to share inspiration. They're very visual. I mean, I am too. So for me, I'm like, yeah, send me all the things, because it gives me a really good insight into, okay, this is what you're thinking vibe wise. Ultimately, you hired me for my vision and how I do my job and how I take photos. But I really wanted to see like, okay, cool. You're really into detail photos, which I mean, I knew that, but wow, you sent me a lot, or wow, you're really into like photos like this. And like I can see a really clear trend in that. Okay, great. This way I can remember that and take photos that fit that feel, but in my own unique way.
Mhm. Yeah. I love everything that you said. There's so many things that I wanna take even further, but one thing that I really liked that you said in the beginning and kind of weave throughout is that you're not for everyone,
Yeah.
and that is part of hospitality, of,
Yeah.
like, not just working with every couple even if you're not the best fit. Could you speak a little bit more about that so that vendors and couples can kind of understand a little bit more about that?
100%. I think it's totally fine to not be for everyone. I know that uh, I can definitely on shoot sometimes a little bit goofy. I am, yeah. I'm just like, I'm not overly serious. I know there's some people who are more, for lack of a better word, maybe more stuffy, more formal. That's a nicer way of saying, instead of stuffy, more formal on the day. I want to just lead with personality, because ultimately, like I am a person who has a personality, and I
Mhm.
want to showcase that. But that said, like there's gonna be moments where, okay, I need to step back, I need to be a fly on the wall. But then when I need to direct, okay, let's have some fun, let's crack some jokes, like let's have a good time. Because I mean, as much as like I'm talking about, these are really important milestones, and we want to do a really really good job. Also, remember, we're taking photos, we're making videos. Like let's have some
Mhm.
fun, right? Like
Yeah.
let's add some levity to it, because I think especially on wedding days, it can get real stressful, and how your vendors are, that can really dictate the mood of the day. I still remember when this one bride, it seemed like she was maybe a little concerned with time, and was asking, how are we for time? And the videographer pulled out their phone to see, and like
No.
I already knew we were behind. I was like, hey, we're good. We're so good. She
Yeah.
goes, oh, okay, thanks. And I saw her shoulders drop. And like to me, that's what it is. It's, hey, we're gonna get through the day. We're gonna get beautiful
Mhm.
photos. We're gonna get beautiful videos, and you're going to have an amazing time getting married, because that is the most important thing. You're getting married to the love of your life, and you're surrounded by
Mhm.
your family and friends. Don't worry about anything else. We've got
Yeah.
you. That's why you're hiring us, because you trust us to
Mhm.
do the job that you paid us to
Yep.
do. And yeah, if you're looking for that, I'm definitely for you. If you're looking for something else, those rock and roll brides, all that stuff, great, love that, just not for me. So it's totally fine. Everyone's got their type of clients,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's okay to not be for everyone.
Mhm. And when you realize who you best fit with as a wedding vendor, you're able to serve them better. And for the clients that you're not necessarily the best fit for, it's not the best service or hospitality to just take them on. In the
Yeah,
past, I feel like we would just kind of take everyone on, which we thought was serving them well. And I mean, we did a great job for them. They always ended up very happy, but in the end, we just kind of evaluated how we could do things better. And we learned that the couples that we're not the best fit for, it's not the best service to them to take them on. it would be better for us to recommend another videographer that would fit their style or personality better, or maybe they have different expectations that aren't necessarily what we fit. And I think that that's okay. I think that's okay for couples to know, for vendors to know. It's not a personal thing. It's just as vendors, as professional vendors, we should be working with the couples that we are most aligned with, and that's how we can serve them the best.
100%. I think in what you're saying, like I get what you're saying. It's not personal, but to a degree, I also think in the kindest way possible, it is personal. I just don't think I can do the best job possible for you.
Yeah.
Like when someone's like, "Hey, I'm having a day. It's a really short day. It's a backyard wedding. I'm not looking for anything crazy. We don't want like a second photographer. We don't want engagement." Also, I'm like, "Hey, listen. Like, I just know that's just not." In this season of life where I'm at, I want to do those long weekends with full coverage throughout the entire weekend with the rehearsal dinner, welcome party, the full wedding day with a second photographer. I find I can serve people really well in that capacity, and
Mhm.
I my heart's just in that. It's not in that other thing, and that's okay. I'm like, and I would
Yeah.
actually I've been on discovery calls where I will stop people and say, hey, listen, your day sounds beautiful. I just don't think I'm the right fit. However, here's XYZ photographer who I think is a way better fit for that. And so like from like the personal standpoint, like I actually do I want to care enough
Mhm.
to if I'm not a good fit, let you know because I actually think like we were talking about like that is what's in service of the client or of the person.
Yeah. I completely agree. Kind of switching gears a little bit, but for couples listening, this is kind of a general question, but what do you think they should look out for when choosing a vendor that not only prioritizes really good work, but also really good experience?
Yeah, no, I think like when you're looking for any vendor, a photographer, you're gonna know if you're meeting with them if you like their work. You've obviously shortlisted a bunch of photographers because if you're meeting with them and you don't like their work, well, okay, we should probably go back a little bit. But yeah, find someone who you really love their work, and you're gonna get a really good sense on a discovery call if if they're the right vibe for you, if we get along, you're gonna be like, all right, if you find this person annoying, don't hire them for your day. Or if you're like you're unsure. And also I'm just a big fan for like especially like both fiancés that like if one of you doesn't like the other person, find someone you guys can both at least be like, I'm okay with this person. I'm okay with this person too. And I just think there's enough photographers, there's enough videographers out there. You can find somebody who you're
Yeah.
both going to like, who also like carries out the values that you care about. Um, yeah, I think it's definitely possible. So obviously, number one, like their work. Number two, find someone who you get along with, shares the same values as you, and then yeah, obviously make sure that they are able to put together packages that fit your price point.
Awesome. Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Amazing, love it.
Okay, so let's be honest. Couples sometimes will come in with a very specific vision for what they want for different vendor categories. Obviously, you're a photographer. How do you balance honoring their input while still protecting your creative processes?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think it's taken me, like I said, like earlier, I've been doing this for like 11 years now. So that's taken me a long time to figure out. I think it's still something like figuring out like, no, I have a voice, I have a perspective, I have like a way of looking at things. And if you're hiring me, I can do that really well. And I'm growing and evolving in my craft. But then it's also, like I said, like if you want to send me Instagram stuff or your Instagram reels, Instagram inspiration every day, great. Gives me a really good insight. But if it's like going to be a way different style, I honestly don't even so much pay attention to the style if like they're already a client. Cause I'm like, all right, cool. I'm paying attention to pose and to vibe because I edit the way I edit. I take photos the way I take photos. So if I notice it feels so far removed, then I'll say something. Or if I notice they're sending me a ton of black and whites, I'll be like, "Hey, you seem really into black and whites." I honestly, I could shoot an entire day in black and white, and I'd be so okay with it. Um, and then I'll say something just for clarification. Hey, are you really liking black and white photos? Like, is that what you're wanting? I'm like, oh no, I just really like the poses. I just think clarity is kind. I think
Hmm.
Brene Brown talks about that a lot. And if we can just get clarity on where they're at, what they're thinking, where the inspo is coming from. I think that's really important. So if they're getting lots of inspiration, great. If you have like all these expectations, awesome. Let's both understand these expectations so we can be on the same page. This way we have crystal clear clarity, and makes the wedding day run even smoother. And for that one bride I was thinking about that sent me a ton of photos on Instagram, when I sent her all of the sneak peeks, she's like, "Oh my gosh, you killed it! That was my exact vision. Everything." I'm like, great, because we communicated about what her expectations were, so I
Mhm.
was actually
Yeah.
able to carry out. And I think I went above and beyond. So, and yeah, I think that's just, and they're still a client to this day. So I just think being able to, if they have expectations, great, love that. Everyone's got expectations, whether they're said or
Mhm.
unsaid. Let's just try to figure out how to bring those to the forefront so we can talk about them. And if I can't meet those
Yeah.
expectations, let's chat that out in the discovery call and try to get that all out on the table right away. So I can say, yes, I'm a great fit for you, or maybe not, but I can suggest people who are.
Mhm. Yeah. I love that. Communicating expectations is something that has helped us so much, and learning about the client's expectations, whether they're a potential client on a discovery call or whether they're a current client. It's something that we've learned over the years, and learning about those expectations really helps us serve them better. On the discovery call, we ask questions like you probably do to
Yeah.
learn about those expectations to see if we are truly the best fit for them. Sometimes when they share inspo videos, I'll look at it, and maybe so our colors are like relatively true to color.
Yeah.
I'll look at it, maybe it's super dark and moody and like uber creative, and I'm like, "Okay, so what did you like about this?" Kind of like you were asking. And if they share something that it's like, "Oh yeah, we do that." Perfect. But if they're talking about, "I love the colors." I have to tell them, "Well, we don't necessarily edit differently. Our colors are consistent throughout.
Yeah.
If that's going to be a deal breaker, no worries at all. I know plenty of dark and moody videographers." But I think just like communicating that on the discovery call, and then I don't know what your processes are, but I'm sure you do something closer to the wedding day. We have a final call with the couple
Mhm.
about 4 to 6 weeks out, and we ask a few questions about their specific expectations for their films. And I find that that helps so much because, um, you know, expectations that aren't communicated, we're not mind readers, so we
Yeah.
don't know what they're thinking. We're going to film and we're going to edit in a wonderful way, but it's always good, I think, to over communicate rather than expect, because, you
Yeah.
know
100%. I just, yeah, I think that's one of like the most important things. I hope every couple understands, like, over communicate with your vendors, over communicate with your photographer, your videographer, especially since this is going to be the things, that the photos, the videos that you're looking back on for the rest of your life. Tell them everything you want. And here's the thing: a lot of photographers will have some sort of, whether it's explicitly said or maybe not, and it's just on the website, that they don't take shot lists or they don't promise specific photos. And I totally get that, because if you would want these amazing sunset photos and it's a rainy day, I'm sorry, we just can't do that. However, if you're like, I really want a photo with this friend, okay, great. I just didn't know that that friend was so important to you,
mhm.
or this uncle, or something like that. Like, though, that's so important. So yes, you have the family list, of course, but if there's specific things you'd love to have, or you're really, you love the details because like you chose a florist that you've wanted since you saw it like years ago, and then you finally were able to get them for your wedding. Amazing. Okay, make sure we get lots of beautiful photos of the florals. I just think, yeah, like, that's so important. Over communicate with your photographers, your videographers. I think it's just, you're going to get a better end result.
Mhm. Yep. And for vendors that are listening, you need to over communicate
Oh
as
my
well
gosh,
because
yeah.
you are the professional.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to me too. Like, even so, I think here's a really easy win that I think, yeah, maybe this is a question like clients can ask their photographers. I don't know if video you can do this so much, but the amount of times that I find people often feel very nervous, whether it's at the engagement session or even on the wedding day, because there's just so much like emotion and tension. And so I get it. Nerves are totally natural. After taking a few photos, whether it's after the first look, or when we're doing portraits of the two of them, or with the wedding party, I'll show a few and I'm like, look how good you guys look. And get really excited with them, because obviously I want to get excited about the work as well. I want to take photos that I'm proud of, and the ones that I'm proud of, I'll show them. And people are always like, "Whoa, wow, we look so good!" And inevitably, you can see they relax, and then people get excited. I've even seen many times where the wedding party said, and one of the bridesmaids goes, "My photographer didn't show us any photos." I'm like, it just feels like such an easy win. Like, at this point, I'm assuming anyone watching this, you're a great photographer, you're a great videographer. Once again, I'm not sure if you actually can really do this, but like, show the back of your camera, just like some sneak peeks if you can. People get so excited. I think it's just such an easy win to also just get people excited about the process. If they're excited, they're going to have fun. And then who doesn't want to have more fun on the wedding day, whether if you're a bride and groom on your wedding day or if you're a vendor, just like at work on somebody else's wedding day. Fun
Mhm.
is always good to have.
Yeah, it is, definitely. And we can show it. It's
Amazing.
just
Love
that
it.
it doesn't always show the correct colors, but it's okay.
Oh yeah, because you guys shoot like in like what is it, log or whatever, so this way it like
Log.
looks super
Yeah.
flat. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's like,
One
hey,
of our
this will look
cameras
better,
has
but look how happy you are.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, the colors will be different, I promise.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, yeah. It's just a win-win when you're having fun, when the couple's having fun, when they feel relaxed, and it's just a win for everybody.
100%. I think it's that's yeah, and like once again, going back to it, that's just something that is in service of clients, and that's everything that we should be doing. We are in the service industry, so let's be in service, give hospitality, make people feel seen, heard, and have fun in the process.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay, so I have a fun question.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to like kindly redirect a client's expectations? And if so, what did that look like?
Yeah, I think over the last number of years, I think I've gotten a lot better at if I'm not the right fit, telling them during the discovery call. Because I think like that's one of the biggest things to do at the beginning. I know I've talked about it, but do a discovery call, and it's not a sales call; it's a discovery call to figure out if you're the
Mhm.
right fit for each other. Do we value the same things? Can I serve you in a way that I know I'm going to do a really good job at that you're going to be satisfied with or even love. And if not, okay, let's go separate ways, and that's okay. Let's find you a photographer who can actually do a really great job for you. Like after booking, it hasn't been too bad for the most part. And I think, like we were talking about before, too, it just comes down to expectations. And I remember there was one client that they asked to chat, and there were some photos that they were wondering if they could get, or they thought saw some old stuff on either my website or Instagram, and they're like, "Hey, this doesn't really feel like some of the stuff that we were seeing." I'm like, "Oh," and I explained why, because it's just like a lighting difference of because of how like the day worked, and it honestly wasn't like a big deal. They're like, "Oh, okay, cool," and it was just like being able to just like talk it through. They're like, okay, great. I just think once again, just over communicate your expectations, over communicate your concerns, and it's our job as professionals to alleviate those concerns and be able to, yeah, help you just feel at ease about your choice of either booking us already or beforehand, just to book us or to help you find someone who's going to be a better fit for you.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that for us personally, we've had to kind of redirect expectations a little more on the discovery call rather than when
Mhm.
they're our client. And once if we see we're not the best fit, directing them to a videographer who is a better fit. But then I feel like once they're our clients, at this point in our business, we do a pretty good job at making sure that we are aligned and like
Yeah.
expectations are clear, but sometimes just the over communication of explaining how things are and just hearing them out, hearing their preferences, and just kind of doing what we can with that. I feel like just hearing them out and clearing up any of those expectations is really important.
100%. I think one of the best things about just doing this a while is you get better at the business side of things, better at the hospitality side of things, and better at your craft. So you just get better and better clients. So it gets more and more fun. Like I have a lot of the clients I have very similar jobs within like a 4 or 5 job range. They have very similar personalities. I'm like, cool. I know who I serve, and I serve them really well. And it's so much fun that like it's almost like you just keep getting better. It's like fine wine.
Hmm.
It just keeps getting better. It keeps getting more fun. So I'm just it's the best. It's truly the best job in the world. I'm just so grateful that we get
Yeah,
to do this.
I agree. I love it. I don't know if you've ever shared, but what did you used to do before photography, like
I've
full time
never
weddings?
I've never had a real job. So I in college, because I went to school for sales and marketing, I worked at Starbucks. I mean, that's a real job, but
Yeah, that is a
or
real
like a
job.
real job post college kind of thing. So I went to school for sales and marketing, and then while I was in college, I remember sitting in my parents' basement with Victoria, my wife, then girlfriend, now wife, and like looking at the numbers. And in September, I was making as much doing all these photography jobs as I will make working at Starbucks part time until the end of the school year in April. And I was like, why am I
Yeah.
working here? And so I quit the next day. I
Yeah,
put in
I
my
had a
2
similar
weeks.
experience.
Yeah, and I just didn't look back. I mean, like, looking back at it, like, we got married super young, so, like, just after college, we were, like, 20 years old when we got married, so I'm like, "Okay, those first few years, we didn't know any better." We didn't know we weren't really making a whole lot of money, but, it's great. We grew together, and, yeah, it's just been such a fun ride. So, yeah, I've only this is all I know, and so that's why I wanna just keep doing
Mhm.
really great because I think I'm probably, very unemployable at this point, so I should probably keep getting better at this whole photography thing.
Yeah. Well, I don't see you being working for someone else at this
Oh,
point.
no, no, I don't think I could. I don't think I could. I would be, I think,
Yeah.
a very bad employee at this point in my life.
Yeah. I like being my own boss. I had multiple jobs, but my last one, I was a teacher, middle school teacher.
Oh,
And similar, I was looking at how much we made in a certain amount of time with weddings, and it was on the side. And then I was looking at my teacher paycheck for the whole year, and I was like, Okay, so weddings are making more than my teacher salary, and I'm
yeah.
very stressed. I love kids, but it was a lot. So I was like, I think that after this year, I should probably do weddings full time. And then I
Yeah.
did.
That's amazing. It's so cool. It's so fun to see, like, where people came from, like, what if is it an adjacent industry or is it completely different and how people got into it. That's always such a fun, yeah, thing to go through. So,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's different paths, to doing,
Mhm.
like, yeah, like, the same kind of job, which is always so fun.
Mhm. And I feel like the different experiences that we have, like I'm sure that working at Starbucks taught you something about customer service.
Yeah.
And sorry, I cut you off.
No, 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 of course no, I was just saying, like, yeah, 100%, like, I remember I actually almost got fired, like, 5 times from
Oh,
Starbucks, but it was always
you were
because I was
young.
giving away photography or shifts at work, to do photography,
Oh.
yeah, so I almost yeah, so that was why, but I still remember one time, people like, I was always told, like, "Oh, just put Kevin on the drive-through window because he's great at talking to people, but he does no work, he doesn't clean or anything."
Oh god.
Yeah. But just to the whole to tie it all back, my poor work habits
Yeah.
at Starbucks too, what we were talking about. I was sitting at a Starbucks, a different one, years later, and this person sitting beside me turned to me and said, "Hey, I know you." I was like, "Okay." She goes, "You were working at the Starbucks that we went through the drive-through, and it was right after a funeral. We were all so sad, and just like you talking to us, it cheered us all up, and like we all like it like changed our day." And I was like, I actually remembered that conversation. I don't know why. I actually like very clearly remember that conversation. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that's years later, like 2, 3 years
Mhm.
later. And she remembered it. It's like, man, just like the power of like just being able to be positive and be present with people
Mhm.
on some like they just came from funeral. Who knows for who and how sad they were and all that stuff. It's a really sad day,
Yeah.
obviously. And just being able to cheer people up and just like something so small as just like giving them their coffee. Yes, you have the act of giving them their coffee, but really it was that hospitality, that service
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
actually makes people feel seen and heard. And we can do that at Starbucks, we can do that on wedding days and the different milestones throughout life. I just think, yeah, it just all ties back to just helping people feel seen and heard. And that is like just the heart of hospitality, the heart of what I want
Mhm.
to do with my career.
Yeah. And I feel like it comes so natural to you. Like, I just see you exuding joy. And I think that that's probably why, I mean, you're a great photographer as well. Very,
Sure,
very
yeah, but
talented.
like I don't think that's the
But
reason why things are going well. I'm like, we're all great
I mean,
photographers.
that does help a lot.
Sure,
But then
yeah.
I think having that positive and kind and understanding personality and just like, I feel like in general, positivity for wedding vendors is so important because
Yeah.
from what I've witnessed, I think a lot of vendors are very serious or very just in the zone with their craft. And sometimes, there's a lot of emotions on the wedding day. So we have to be a little bit, sometimes we have to try to be a little bit more like uplifting and
Yeah.
positive and comes natural to some, not natural to others, but it definitely comes natural to you. So,
Well, thanks. And I think okay, even going back to it, I said, yeah, like yeah, obviously I'm a good photographer. Like I wouldn't have a career if I wasn't good. You wouldn't have a career if you weren't good at video. But past a certain point, I think it's like it's not just one skill of just I think if you're a really hospitable but a terrible photographer, I don't think you'll have any work either. So I think it's all of it. It's being a great photographer, being hospitable. It's like all these like different skills you stack on top of each other. And like you're saying, like some people are so serious on the wedding day for vendors, and I've just seen that. And I thought for so long that's what I have to do too. And I think it's only been in the last like year or two, that's like, oh, I can be me. Like I can be. And
Mhm.
I'm sure I was probably always positive on wedding days and everything, but like from the artistry side, I can lean into like what I like. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I
Yeah.
can treat people really well, like the way that I want to treat them, and I can do it the way that I would do it. I can be me on a wedding day and people like that. Like that's been a process for me. And I think for so many vendors, so many photographers starting out, they feel like they have to just copy everyone else. And I get it. Like at some point, like you're gonna try to be like, I want to be like that photographer. So you're gonna do what they do, post how they post. I get it. It's just natural. But eventually, I can't wait for all the people to get to the point and for clients, find a photographer, find a videographer who is at the point where like, no, I can be me. And that's like you're buying my vision, the hospitality, the way like my perspective, my voice. Like I have something to say. I have a way of looking at things that I think you're actually really going to like. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm actually okay with that.
Yeah.
But it from an alignment standpoint, it gets you way better clients. And for clients, you're gonna get a
It
photographer that you
does.
align way more with, who's gonna document your day in a way that like you could only dream of. So I just think that's something that is just so important. Just getting to the point where, like, oh yeah, I can be me on a wedding day. I can run this business the way
Mhm.
that like feels like me and it feels good. And that's where it's been over the last couple of years for me. And it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like we're in that stage as well where we've always had really great clients. Like we're so
Mhm.
blessed that we haven't had any we really haven't had any difficult clients. I mean, there's different personalities that
Sure.
sometimes don't mesh, but overall we've been very blessed, but I feel like this year and last year and next year we're just like very aligned with our couples
Yeah.
and like they love us. I'm just like this is so I love that they care so much about their video team, you
Yeah.
know? And that's something I didn't experience before we learned who our ideal client was, how to serve them really well. We were still doing an amazing job. We were professional. We gave them amazing films. But I feel like now we just have a better relationship with them. Of course, some couples don't want to be buddy buddy, some do.
Of
We
course, yeah.
respect that. But in the end, they just all treat us really well. You can tell that they care about us as people, not just vendors. And I've noticed like our reviews are just so sweet. And I feel like it has to do a lot with the hospitality, with aligning better, with being the best fit for them. So it's been a really great season for us too.
100%. No, that's so amazing to hear, and I think like it's one of those things where just because maybe we're feeling really aligned now doesn't mean it wasn't before. It just keeps getting better, right? It's like
Yeah.
I was doing the best I could with the tools I had, and
Hmm.
I feel like you're saying like last year, like it feels like this last year, and then this year it's like we just keep getting more aligned and better clients and better. We're giving a better experience. That's just me. I honestly feel like every year I'm like, man, I'm just shooting like the
Yeah.
best weddings ever. It's like it feels, and it maybe sounds like just repetitive, but I honestly feel like it just keeps getting better and just like you keep trying to find ways to find joy in it and more ways to grow and more ways for me, I'm so achievement driven, so whether that's in the hospitality side or the artistry side, like finding new things to be inspired, it's like it's okay to also grow and evolve, and maybe one day your eventually your clients look different than they did before, and that's okay too. Like I
Hmm.
just think that yeah, it's just to keep growing. It's just so much fun just to keep trying to be like, okay, we're getting more and more aligned, and just to make it feel more and more like a business that we're proud of, which I think is great that you guys are feeling that. I'm feeling that, which is yeah, it's lovely. I'm
Yeah.
happy for you guys.
We're blessed and highly favored.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Throwing you a little bit of a curveball, but when you first started out doing weddings and then now, is there a difference between like the quantity of weddings that you take and that you took? And do you feel like the hospitality and level of service was affected when you made that shift?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I honestly, I think I've actually been that's the one area I've been like fairly consistent in. I've
Hmm.
been in and around that 19 to 22 weddings a year mark for basically the whole time. I mean, like the
Hmm.
first year or two, maybe we like started with a little bit less because when you're starting out, people just don't know who
Yeah.
you are. But yeah, I've been fairly consistent. When I see people like 30, 40, 50 weddings, I'm like, my goodness. That said, when we grew a team, we did
Yeah.
have, I think, like 63, 65 weddings, something like that the one year. I only did, I think, 18 that year.
Hmm.
I was overseeing everything, obviously, as Victoria and I ran everything together. But yeah, I've been pretty consistent in that. And like to me, I just think for myself, I mean, to each his own. I can
Hmm.
serve 20 clients very, very well. I can't serve 40 clients very, very well in a year. So
Yeah.
to me, like I would rather just shoot a little bit less than maybe some other people, but choose to serve people like in a way that I'm just really, really proud of.
Mhm. Yeah. I love that. We're pretty similar as well. We do have a team, as you know, but Angelo and I, we have our limit for how many we feel like we can take on in a way that we're still serving our couples really well. And also not leading to burnout because that doesn't serve us well, that doesn't serve our couples well. But I'm impressed that from the start, like, did you do that purposefully? Did you know your
No,
limit from the start, or was that just
no.
God leading you?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's gotta be that because, like, just the God leading me side of things. Because 'cause I'm like, I think also during that, when we had a team, I remember I still did the 20 I think I did 23 or 24 that when we had that time, um, and I remember near the end, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm, like, near the end of my rope," because I was also, like, running the
Mm,
day-to-day and
yeah,
then shooting, like, with, like, 6
and
people,
managing your team.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
that was
it's a
a lot
lot.
because people were, like, on, like, salary full time and stuff like that, so that just became a lot. I was like, "Okay, I'm for where I'm at my current skill set, I'm just, like, this is the end of my rope the end of my rope." I think maybe now if I was to do things very differently and grow a team, maybe I would feel differently, but, for where I'm at right now, like, I can, uh change out cameras all I want because you don't need the consistency with everyone having the same gear. I can change my editing style, which I have over the last like 2 years. Change a little bit of how I shoot and what inspires me has changed. So I can just like I can move a little bit quicker in things. So which has been really fun. But yeah, the whole 20 weddings thing, give or take 20 weddings. I think yeah, that's where I feel comfortable, where I feel I have energy. Otherwise, I feel like I start to burn out. I just want to prevent that because I yeah, that burnout sucks. I've been
Yeah.
there. It's not fun.
Thankfully, I have not been there. Angelo is the one that, since he started our business before I joined the team, he kind of experienced the burnout, and
Okay.
then he was like, "This is my limit." And I
Yeah.
said, "Okay, well,
How did you
that's
get
my limit
how
too."
did he get out of it?
How did he get out of burnout?
Yeah, because like, it's such a crappy feeling. It's like, yeah, I could. Because I remember there was a time years ago, probably 6 years ago, I was like, yeah, I'm like I wasn't mad or like, I hate this by any means. It's like, I could put down the camera, walk away, go do another job, and be totally fine. But then it took a while, and then like, oh, and then once I got and refound my love for photography again, I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, this is it. Okay, I gotta do it
Yeah.
this way moving forward." It's like realigning yourself. I was just like so out of like real, so out of alignment, so out of what feels
Mhm.
natural to me, so out of what works for me that I was like, "Okay, I'm
Yeah.
I'm good to not do this." But as soon as I got back in it, I was like, "Yes, this is what I'm supposed to do." It's like, man, I was like, I went astray for a bit, but I'm back now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So like,
Yeah.
well, what did you like? What was for you guys practically like? How did he get out of that? Like, what turned things around?
So, since I handle like the organization, the bookings, client communication, all that stuff, um financial stuff. So, basically he told me this is my limit for how many I want to do a month. So for videographers at the price point that we were way back when, couples would book us like pretty close to the wedding, like
Okay.
6 months or less. So, it was kind of easy to manage when we would have different bookings, and so we didn't have too many booked for the next year. And so I just took that into mind when I
Mm.
would have calls with clients, and then also we evaluated how much we should be charging if we want to take less, which was really smart. He's the one that he's sitting over there. He's the one that said we need to raise our prices, and I was kind of scared because I just, I think everyone is before they raise their prices. And then he was like, I don't want to do these certain weddings. They just don't creatively
Yeah.
fulfill me. And I totally get that now because
Yeah.
I have my own preferences as well. And so basically he just came to his end and he was like, this is what I want. If we're going to continue, this is what I'll do. And I was like, okay, I will adjust.
I love that. Okay, that's so interesting. Even you're saying about your preferences. How do you guys balance, like, as a husband and wife team? Because right now, Victoria is with like our daughter. And we're having another child soon, which is very exciting, and I love
That's
that. And so it's
awesome.
just me in the business these days. How do you guys balance like your preference differences? Because sometimes even stylistically that can be different. Like obviously you said like you handle a lot more of the admin and all that stuff. So I get like role wise, but preference wise, like
Mhm.
on wedding days, how do you balance that?
I feel like our style and preference is very similar
Okay.
now. Angelo has had a camera for a very long time, I think ever since he was 15. So he has a really amazingly creative eye. I do too, but I'm just always very, very impressed with him. And so I always kind of followed in his footsteps, and what he likes, I tend to like as well. So if there's a certain venue that I don't like, I'm like, I know that he's not going to like this one either.
Oh,
Or if
okay.
there's one that just doesn't creatively excite him, it's probably not going to creatively excite me as well. So it's been easy with that. There's other instances that, we've had to learn, as I'm
Yeah.
sure you and your wife have had to
Oh,
learn
yeah.
too.
Yeah, and even just talking to all my friends who are also husband and wife teams, whether it's in photo or photo and video, it's one of that's one of the hardest things. Like you you work together all day, but then you're also married, so then you go home together, and that's like,
Yeah,
okay, what do you talk about? It's like, yeah, you were with
I
me all day.
know.
You know everything that happened.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, trying to find ways to like, yeah, make life new, and also like have like what helped me and Victoria a lot was we started to have like, and it sounds like you guys have done it, like really like separate roles. And this was like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, we're doing different things now. This is great. And like, oh wow, we actually have things to talk about now. We say like, how's your day? So it was great. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really that was a really useful tool for us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, diversifying and having the specific roles and learning to have work-life balance. We actually recently recorded a podcast about that, so
Oh,
we
that's
are
awesome.
like it's freshly in our mind.
I love that. I love that. That's great.
Yeah. But I would love to start kind of wrapping up our podcast. I know we could talk for literally hours, but I kind of wanted to ask a few questions to wrap up. So, to wrap up, I want to kind of discuss how vendors can work well with each other, kind of from couple standpoint and vendor standpoint. So, do you think that couples should ask vendors when they're on the discovery call how they work with other vendors, such as photographer, how do you work with my videographer, videographer, how do you work with my planner, etc.?
Yeah, I think it's such a helpful question because you're gonna get a really good feel of like how the photographer works because maybe they've impressed you the entire time and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, okay, so you're not collaborative at all. Like, how, oh crap, we really wanted a videographer. And I'm like, maybe we don't. Like maybe either we need to like not have a video now because you're not collaborative at all, or we need to maybe find another photographer. So I think that kind of question can be super telling. But then maybe they'll be like, yeah, I'm super collaborative with them. I'll have a call with them, no problem. And so for me, like what I do is like, yeah, of course, let's get on a call with your video team, or I can contact them individually whenever you end up hiring them. We can talk closer to the day and just like be able to plan out shots. And even one of the biggest things is just on the day, it's communication. And like we talked about, clarity is
Mhm.
kind, having clear expectations of like what I want to get, what the videographer wants to get. And I still remember at one time, because you don't hear most of the time it's like, "Hey, can I get in your shot?" And you just like, "Yes." It's like that's almost always the answer because as long as you're being polite and respectful. But I remember one time this videographer said, "No, I really need this," and I was like, "Oh." At first, I was a little put back. I'm like, "No, he clearly communicated," and I asked, I'm like, "Oh, that was great." And then I remember watching this video after. I remember seeing the shot because I remember where I was because like, okay, I just took it a little farther back, and I took a photo that during a ceremony that I took it a little bit differently than I normally would. I'm like, "Oh, that's that." Okay, I recognize that shot. I'm like, "Okay." No, I'm so glad he said that because that actually looks so good. The way he's like,
Mhm.
I'm so glad he asked for what he wanted, and also as me, the photographer, being collaborative, I listened and took a step back and just shot it a little bit differently. It wasn't much different. Yeah, so I just think being collaborative is so important. So definitely ask your
Yeah.
photographers, ask your vendors, how do you work with other vendors, like very adjacent jobs like photo and video. That's one where I definitely
Mhm.
ask.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like knowing that the vendors are collaborative is very helpful because, for example, obviously, photo video, we work super closely together.
Hmm.
So for moments such as like if the couple is having a first look, we want to make sure that we're not in your way, you're not in our way. We're capturing, because for video, typically we're capturing the full moment. Maybe we're giving them a full first looks film. Who knows? But we want to make sure we're, getting the angles, not getting in each other's way, and also not overwhelming the couple with being like, photo shoot all around them, being kind of discreet. So I feel like us being super communicative with the photographer, a lot of times I'll introduce ourselves beforehand. A
Hmm.
lot of times they're photographers we already know, so it's
Yeah.
already awesome. But I feel like the communication is super important, kind of like what you said.
Yeah. Okay. Question for you then, going off of that, like, is because obviously with the off-camera flash for many photographers has become more popular over the last couple of years. How is that for video? Is that just like the bane of your existence? Or how do you navigate that? Because you guys are trying to get like full moments, like, right? Like I'm trying to get
Mhm.
the moment with a flash, and that's getting more and more popular. Like dance floor, of
Yeah.
course, but even you see sometimes even during the day or for portraits, I find I'm pulling that out. Is that like from a video standpoint, you're like, oh my gosh, this sucks, or is it, hey, get your photo, then we'll get our video after that? Like how does that work for you guys? Like how are you finding that?
Yeah. We don't personally care as much about that. We know that the day isn't about video. It's not a video production.
Mm,
It's not about photo either, but like these are memories for the couple. So like the let's say we're doing a cake cutting. Obviously you're going to use a flash
mhm.
because it's probably dark in there. We'll probably use our light as well. Um it's okay if there's flash in it. Like that's what happened. That was the moment. The couple probably doesn't care from a cinematic storytelling like beautiful film standpoint, yeah, it would be better without the flash, but again, it's not about video. And then I know that like the flash photography outside in broad daylight is super in. Angela loves that cuz we do non-wedding photography as well, but we still shoot while the photographer is shooting, and then we typically like to ask for one or two movement shots when the photographer isn't shooting. So it's like we want to maximize our time. We don't want to make you redo things. We hate
Yeah.
making people redo things. So
Oh yeah, same. That's always like when we are like, "Hey, we all got it. Why are we redoing this?" But no, I think
yeah,
it's so cool. Even it talks to like your heart of you're like, "Hey, it's not about video. It's not about photo either, of course. It's like it's about the day." And that's when I was talking to a lot of my couples. They say we want um the photos to be about the day, not the day about photos.
yeah,
And
I
I
love
think it's
that.
like that's yeah, and I love that so much. I think even what you're saying, it just like shows your heart. You're like, yeah, of course, no problem. We want the couple to have an amazing day, and if yeah, there's some flash stuff in there, great, whatever. Yeah, would it be
Yeah,
better without? Sure, but it's not about us, it's about them.
yeah, exactly.
Love that.
Well, we again are running up on our time. We could keep talking, but I'm going to go ahead and close us out. But I wanted to ask one last thing before I do. Is there any piece of advice? We kind of gave a piece of advice to couples, but what advice would you give vendors if they're wanting to not specifically improve their creativity, but more so improve their hospitality towards their couples? What advice would you give?
Yeah, I think one of the best piece of okay, two pieces of advice. Number one, read Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. It is one of the best books on hospitality I've ever read, and I think I've read it like 4 times now at different stages of my business. Uh, so that's the first one, and the second would be learn to listen to your clients, like not just like in the, like not just okay, yeah, sure, yeah, you want 10 hours or whatever. No, no, no. Listen, like what are the values? What's important to them? Who's important to them? Listen to those things because all of a sudden something might stick out to you as you're taking notes throughout the discovery call, throughout the process, or you see they went to a concert and then you could get them like a vinyl from that band and ship it to them as like as something a nice gift or whatever it ends up looking like. Like pay attention. It's the little things that make a massive difference. Pay attention to them, listen to them, and as I've talked about many, many times throughout this podcast, help them feel seen and feel heard. I think if you do that, you'll be so, so glad you did.
Awesome. Well, I think that's great advice. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast. And if the listeners want to follow you along on Instagram, social media, your website, where can they find you?
Of course, yes. So my website is morninglightphotography.com, and you can find me on Instagram at morninglightphoto, and that's light Light. So at morninglightphoto.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kevin. See ya.
Thank you.